Welcome to the Why Not podcast with me, Chrissy Hawkins. In a world where everybody asks you why, I'm here to ask why not. So sit back and relax or walk and listen and join me on this journey as we try to answer this never-ending question. What makes people say, why not? Hi guys, welcome back to Why Not. So today I am joined by Siobhan. You may have seen her on Instagram as Trotting Away My Anxiety. So we have a bit of an equine influencer, equestrian influencer here. Though she kind of debates that she may not be, says she just talks shite online, but I think that's what we all do. So, all right with that. So I just want to say welcome to the podcast, Siobhan. How are you?
Having me. It's so fun.
Yeah, this is going to be really cool. So first off, I suppose, will you just let everybody know who you are and where you're from, or not even where you're from, who you are, what do you do, basically?
So, as Chrissy said, I'm just someone who talks shite online. So I'm from Mayo, and I have 4 horses, and pretty much just share everything online, from the good, the bad, everything in between, and pretty much anything you might see on my page. And yeah, I've always loved horses. Went horse riding when I was younger, but was never allowed a horse, so I quit. And now that I'm an adult and I have adult money, I am broke by having horses. So yeah.
I love it. Now I've got adult money. I spend it all on ponies, like living that childhood dream.
Yeah, fully.
So how did you get into horses originally?
So like, it's for as long as I can remember. I remember when I was like 4 and 5, and we went on family holidays abroad, and the little pony rides. And I remember going on a pony, like a Shetland pony. I was really like 4, and going on a little Shetland pony, and always loved horses. Like, I had every book reading about horses. I wanted to know all about the breeds of horses, everything. And then one of my friends actually went horse riding as well, and she had her own pony. So I used to always be at hers with her pony, and eventually I was allowed to go horse riding, but like that, was not allowed my own horse. So this is, maybe I was like, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11, like that kind of age, 10, 11, 12. And then I quit, or I just kind of stopped going, because I wasn't allowed my own horse. And me being a typical teenager was just, I wanted it and I wasn't allowed it. And then over lockdown, I wanted to start back, but of course lessons weren't on over lockdown and all that kind of stuff. So I think it was towards the end of lockdown. It was like maybe 2021. I went back riding to where I originally did, like, was it 10 years ago, and started getting lessons and stuff. And then I started looking for a horse. Like, it was very quick looking for a horse, and I wasn't even long doing lessons, but I knew that's what I wanted, and I knew that's how I'd get better. I was just having my own horse. And then I got Murph, my first horse, in September 21. So yeah, since then it's just been, crazy.
Collecting ponies after that.
Pretty much.
So what was it that brought you back? Like, after you finished riding, was it kind of like a line in the sand at the time? You're like, I'm done now, I'm not going to go back. And then, like, what was it that brought you back?
Yeah, I don't know what. Like, I feel like I always knew I'd go back. And like, previously I was working and living in Galway, and I moved home then and got a job here in Mayo, like near my home house. And I knew that's the job I'm in now is where I wanted to be. So I just kind of knew that I was more settled, and I knew that I could get a horse, that I'd be there. And yeah, it just kind of
became 2, became 3, became 4.
pretty much.
So how long was it before it became 2?
I got Murph in September, and then I got Oscar in January. So October, November, December, 4 months. And then I got Mitch a day later. Like, I got Oscar and Mitch was within like 2 days apart. So I went from 1 to 3 within the space of 4-ish months, something like that.
And how's that been? Like obviously, like, one horse for a lot of years, you've got 4. So how do you balance that with, working, and like you have to look after them as well? Are they in a livery yard, or are you have them at home, or?
Livery yard, yeah. So I come from a typical farming household background where horses ruin the land. Horses are no good on the land. So I am not, nor will I probably ever be allowed my horses back here at home. But I go between having them in livery and putting them out on like rented land and stuff. So at the minute I have 2 in livery and 2 out on their winter break. There was a time where I had all four in together. Now that's extremely difficult and extremely expensive. Um, but yeah, it's usually around one or two in at a time and swap. So there's none on their own together, we'll say. So yeah, but how do I work it with work and stuff? I honestly don't know. People ask me how do you manage it, but like I don't know. But I feel like I wake up in the morning buzzing to go in to see them. Like I genuinely work my life around my horses. And when you love it, like sure, you know yourself, when you love something, it doesn't even feel like work. It doesn't. I laugh so much because some of my colleagues at work would be like, "Oh, so we were you at the horses this morning?" And I was like, "Yeah, every morning." And they're like, "Oh, and in the morning?" I'm like, "Yeah." People just don't get that horses are a full time thing.
They're also alive, you can't just like not show up some days, they need to make sure they're okay.
But yeah,
So like I suppose having gone like to lessons all over the years and stuff, and then like come to the point where you're actually able to buy your own horse, like what was it like, bringing Murph home for the first time and being like, wow, this is actually mine?
undescribable. Like I used to sit at home watching videos or TikToks, and actually, like I knew this was going to be me. I knew I would get my horse, and I knew I would, and I always knew I would. And a few weeks before I got Murph, I had a piece of paper. I wrote down, and I still have a picture on my phone. I wrote down on a piece of paper, I will find my horse. He will be an older horse who will teach me everything, and he will be near, like, look, as in I won't have to travel far for him, kind of thing. And I went outside and I lit the piece of paper on fire, and I was like, let it out into the universe and all this. And then it was, I'd say, 7 or 8 days later, like it wasn't that long later, the instructor of my yard rang me and she said, I think I know someone selling a horse. She's not sure about it being for sale yet, but she might be. So I'll give you her number and text her and say that if she's selling, that you're interested. So I think he'd be a good match. And I got Murph and all my other horses. Oh, I bought all of them without sometimes viewing or without even riding them. So I took Murph on 2 weeks trial before I bought him, and I couldn't ride him for the 2 weeks because he had a stone bruise in his hoof, and everyone was like, "That's such a bad idea. You should never get a horse that has something wrong with them, especially whatever." And I fell in love with him straight away. I knew I was like, "No, I don't even need to ride him. I know I want him." Was that me being stupid? Possibly, but it worked out for the best thing in the world. Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that you've like not viewed the horses or even like ridden them when you bought them. Like how does that help? Like how do you make your decision then? Because obviously that a lot of people will be like, what do you want? Like you said there with like Murph and everything.
Yeah.
But like what is it that like makes you decide, oh, this could be mine?
I don't know. Is it good intuition? Is it craziness? I don't know what it is, but yeah. So two of them, a previous horse that I've sold now, but his name was Sammy. So he was an hour and a half drive away, and I just seen a picture of him on WhatsApp, and I was like, yeah, this was me in work impulsively being like, I'm going to buy him. And the next day I got a delivery. I got him like shipped down, or what do you call that? Transported. I got him transported down, and he came the next day, and he worked out so perfectly. I've just touched wood, have good luck. I don't know. Is it just? I don't know why. Is it just good instinct? Is it just? I don't know. I think I don't know. It's yeah.
Mentality as well. You're like, you know what? I know it's going to be good because if you're nervous, like and stuff like that, it creates issues with the horses sometimes as well.
I think it's just good luck so far, and yeah.
Also, I need to know what kind of job you have because you just find horses left, right, and center. I want that job.
Job. I'm a quality technician, so I work in a lab, doing microbiology and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a 7:30 to 4, so it's great. Like I'm the long evenings are fantastic. I'm not far from the horses. I'm about 7 minute drive, maybe even less. And it's Monday to Friday. It's great. Yeah,
That's perfect. So
if
when you have like all four in for competition season, you'll be sorted.
we'll see.
So I suppose obviously as well you're paid as well. Friday Away My Anxiety. Very great name. What made you decide to set up this page?
Yeah, so I started it when I was doing the lessons in 2021, and it was pure private. Like I had no followers, didn't follow anybody, nothing. It was just for me to look back on and look back at progress, pictures and videos, I suppose. And then I posted the picture of me lighting. I must see it's still on my page. Actually, it could be. of me lighting the piece of paper on fire that I was talking about looking for Murph. And then when I got the phone call about Murph and blah blah, and then I knew I was getting him, I just kind of started posting more then, like, because obviously getting my first horse. It was still progress videos and stuff, but then I put up like, little hauls here and there and that kind of stuff. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to take it off private and start actually, doing a bit in the bobs, whatever. And then Leah Vet, this was maybe summer 22, I'd say, maybe 23. Leah Vet added me to their PR list. And since then, like I always say, it's since Leah Vet is the reason I started doing blogging or influencer or whatever, because Leah Vet sent me stuff and I started doing more stuff. And since then, I've been totally an open book online.
So like with your stuff, do you cover like mostly like product reviews, or is it kind of now a mixture of like your course progression and that kind of thing?
It's literally anything. You could see me doing anything, like anything. It's not anything. It's still in a horsey page, but I still do come on and just talk shite and do random stuff as well. Yeah.
Well, that's good though, because that shows your personality, and that's probably why people are gravitating to you. It's
I think so.
Because I'm like very weird.
Before I had like I used to have a blog, like a makeup or a fashion blog, whatever you want to call it. Like this is like maybe 2017 up until like 2021. Before the horses came along really and took over my life pretty much. So I always knew that like by growing a following, by coming across as a normal person, is to just talk on your stories. Like stories is so huge, because you know yourself, if you're at home cooking or cleaning your room, you've got your phone on there and you'd rather have someone talking to you, not to you, but talking on the screen, that's someone who's normal, than just stuff that isn't relatable. So definitely stories is a way. And I know some people can be like, it's so nerve-wracking talking to the screen and whatnot, but no one really gives a fuck. Like, and it's until you realize, like, you know what, I don't give a shit. It's then you'll come out of yourself so much more, and that's so much easier said than done. But that's definitely what, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. And I think it's actually easier talking on stories because you're talking to no one.
And it goes again after 24 hours, so it's fine.
Yeah. Any damning evidence is gone.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying there as well, you did like fashion kind of beauty blogging as well. What got you into that initially?
I am a qualified makeup artist by trade as well. So makeup, I love makeup and all that kind of stuff. So I started doing that basically around my leaving cert time. And when I got really bad anxiety, so content creating was what got me out of my anxiety into somewhat. And then when I created the page I have now, Trot Away My Anxiety, I knew that the horses are amazing for anxiety relief and mental health, as everyone knows, but also the creation side of it was going to help me more out of my anxiety. So Trotting Away My Anxiety was born.
So you're saying when your anxiety hit, like, so what happened in that kind of time?
And that's the thing, nothing. My anxiety came out of nowhere. Like I was full sure that I had a brain tumor or something had to be physically wrong with me, because it came out of nowhere, where I couldn't leave my bed for 7 weeks, not even the house, but my bed. Like I was very bad with it. So I went and got MRI scans and the whole shebang up on my head, and nothing was wrong. And doctors were throwing out antidepressants at me. And I was like, I'm not depressed. I'm not depressed, but they just threw out antidepressants, and I knew this wasn't for me. And like I said, 7 weeks in bed. I remember the first time walking up my hall, like to the kitchen, and I was like, oh my God, I had like tunnel vision. It was just, crazy. And then I found a really good doctor, just a normal GP, but she was more like a counselor, because she was, she talked to me and she helped me, and we tried out different medications and just generally just talking out why I was feeling the way I was feeling and all this. And it took me like a long time to even leave Mayo, and then I got my job in Galway, and that definitely really helped. But it's only, and I said this on my story not that long ago, it's only last year that I've actually done stuff that I hadn't been able to do in 10 years. And I know it's all because the horses was the medication that I needed the most. And yeah, the horses is literally what saved my life. Like, so yeah.
I suppose for anyone maybe who doesn't know your story, with anxiety and struggles, was there something that set it off, or was it something that just kind of came out? Like even like going straight back to the beginning, can you pinpoint a time when it kicked off, or
My anxiety is this.
yeah?
No, what? No, I remember it was New Year's Eve, like 2016, but like that, it was out of nowhere. Nothing happened, and people always say, "Oh, something must have happened, or it must have been trauma in your childhood." No, nothing, and that's why I was convinced that I had cancer, or I had something. I had something that was going on, and no, nothing, nothing. It's mad.
It is, and it's good. The reason I'm asking that as well is because it's good to, I suppose, explain that to people. Because I think anyone who's suffered with any form of mental health issues, you're almost like, what is wrong with me? Like, especially if you come from like a background of like there theoretically nothing wrong,
Yeah.
you're like, you start to blame yourself, really, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I was overthinking everything, that something must have, something must have, and then I was scaring myself into thinking like I was dead, and I was watching this from above, and like, oh, just crazy stuff altogether. But that's not saying I don't have anxiety now, but
Yeah.
I still do. Very minuscule. Like 2 weeks ago was the first time I got back on a plane in the last 10 years, because it's something that I knew I wanted to do. Like, we used to go on holidays and everything when we were younger and blah blah. But once I got my anxiety 10 years ago, it was something that was holding me back, was not being able to go on a plane again. So 2 weeks ago, I booked a solo trip to Edinburgh. I went
Oh,
on
you do it on your own as well.
I went on the Friday, came back on the Saturday. It wasn't a holiday, it was just to test myself to go on a plane. And once I landed in Edinburgh, I was bawling, crying with such relief that I did this. And I feel like since then, like that was like since then I've been so well in. I feel like I won't worry about anything now, which obviously, touch wood, hopefully not, but of course we will, and life goes on. But that was something that was holding me back in the 10 years, was that I'd never be able to go back on a plane ever again, that I was stuck on this plane, that I'd never be able to get on one again. But now that I've did it, and I know it's so much easier said than done to overcome your fears, but it's so true. The only way to overcome them is to just overcome, do them. But
But
yeah.
it's not something that happens overnight. Like you said yourself, it was 10 years ago that it kicked off. So this is obviously been a gradual progression over time. And I think it's really good to highlight that as well, you know?
And it makes me mad thinking like 10 years, my God, like, so I wasted so much of my life, 10 years, but like I had to go through it. And I do think having gone through anxiety and still living with it and blah, blah, has made me such an empathetic person. Made me a stronger person. I do think, everyone, there's a path for everyone, that you go, something happens along the line for someone for some reason. And I do think that happened to me for a reason. And I think everyone comes through a little bit of anxiety in their life, and I'm glad that I did overcome it when I did, and not in, years to come or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's amazing you did. Like, how did it feel when you like got off that plane in Edinburgh?
Like I said, I was bawling crying. I was saying, I was walking to my hotel, and I was sending a Snapchat to my boyfriend, and I was bawling crying. And I was thinking, oh my God, they're going to think I'm here for a funeral, because here I am on my own, bawling crying, But it was just literally like I felt, and this sounds so crazy, but I did feel like 10 stone lighter, because I was always afraid this was always going to hold me back. And I was thinking, oh my God, my boyfriend's going to break up with me because he's going to think we can never go on holidays. I'll never be able to do this, So it really was a massive, massive relief. Massive.
That kind of causes you more anxiety as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, of course, because when you build stuff up in your head, then it makes you think it's going to be worse than it is. And it was so fine. Like, the whole thing was so normal. I was so calm throughout it. I was so proud of myself. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, so even like taking it back, like you're like several weeks in bed, not able to move out of bed from it, like that shows how crippling that was.
Yeah.
And obviously now 10 years later, you're going, like, you're not even going on a flight with your boyfriend. You went and did it on your own. Like, that's
Yeah.
massive.
My mum was like, "Can I come with you?" Or blah blah. I said, "No, I want to do it myself," because in some ways I deal with things myself, that, like, if I get a panic attack, or was to get a panic attack, I'd be then worrying about the person with me, worrying about me, where I'd rather just deal with it myself. So I knew I had to go myself. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Like, it just shows such growth, you know?
It is, and it's weird how everyone is so different, and some people would go on their own would be their worst nightmare. Everyone is so different. But yeah, your mind is a fucked up thing.
Oh yeah, it's mental. Believe me, I've been in like my own journey and stuff like that, and you're just like, like when you come out the other side, it's mad. It's like just feeling like you're almost like a different person, but in a good way. Like
Yeah.
so like what were, I suppose, I know you started the content creation and stuff like that. Like what was it about content creation that helped you deal with your anxiety?
When I started the content like 10 years ago, when I got my anxiety or whatever, I used to, in my anxiety is called DPD. So it's depersonalization, derealization disorder. It's probably something that many people have not heard of, and because it's really weird, but it's basically, I'd look down at my hands and I'd feel like they weren't my hands. And I'd be constantly like, I'd be like, what? I don't understand. Are they my hands? It's like I was another person watching over. And that's basically what it is. It's derealization. It's, you're not aware of your own thing. So I used to take videos of myself so that I could prove that I was alive, pretty much, that I was controlling my body. And then I used to just post them. So that's genuinely how it happened, was from my anxiety, videoing myself. And even now, to reassure myself, if I was somewhere, like when I went on the plane before I left the airport in Knock, I took a video of myself in the car. Didn't send it to anybody. I just took it for myself, and I said, "You're fine. You're going to be fine." Blah blah whatever. And look back, and I don't know what it is about looking back at my own self talk, and it just calms me down a bit. Yeah. So
That's
that's
like
how.
you said, it puts you back, like, isn't it? It tells you like you are here. See, look, I'm showing the video. I'm not floating away or whatever,
Reassuring your own mind that you're not crazy, but your mind is telling you you're crazy. Like yeah.
Yeah, when it's hard when your mind is working against you, like so difficult. But I suppose as well, I think anxiety as well has become, in a sense, a bit of a buzzword.
Yeah, definitely.
So do you find when you kind of like, until you maybe explain your story more, if you mention you have anxiety, people don't understand like the depths of and severity of it, like
100%. And what gets me is when people go, "Oh, I have such anxiety." Like, no, you don't. Like, shut up, you don't.
you're nervous, you're grand.
Shut up. You're nervous over something, like, it's not anxiety. But it does, that annoys me. And also some people just don't get it, and they're so lucky not to get it, because that means they have never had themselves or anyone else around them to know what it actually is like. And some people are just like, "Oh, just don't think about it. Like, just snap out of it. You'll be fine." It's like, yeah, it's not that. And it is hard to talk to people that haven't, gone through it, or even understand it themselves, because it's just like talking to a wall. It's not. It's just going to make yourself more annoyed. So I don't really talk about it unless, like that, I know people are not that I don't talk about it. Like, I tell anybody about it. I don't care now, because I love spreading more awareness. But
Oh yeah.
I'd never get deep about something until someone says, you can kind of get a feel for someone if they're going to know what you're on about, or that kind of stuff. Because yeah, some people just don't get it, and like that, they're fortunate not to get it. I wish I did not get it, but
I don't necessarily always think it's that they don't get it. I think like Irish people in general, they're not good at feeling their feelings or like talking about their feelings. So I understand what you mean about, like, opening up about anxiety. Yeah, you'll say that to someone like, "Oh, just now."
yeah,
Like they mightn't realize constant sense of dread they have is actually anxiety.
yeah,
Like, "Oh, geez, I'm just tired." Like, you're not tired.
yeah.
It's been going on for like 6 weeks.
Yeah, drink some water, go for a walk, you'll be fine.
Yeah. That's like such things like, yeah, just why don't you just not be sad? I was like, didn't think of that one.
Just don't think about it. Yeah.
What advice actually would you have for anyone who may think they're starting to like that, get kind of, it could be the type of anxiety you have, it could be just low level constant, like that's one, like constant dread. Like obviously anxiety itself is not supposed to be a bad thing, as in it's one of the things that was built into us to keep us alive. But obviously people are now struggling with it way more. Have you any tips for people like that, so they can kind of not like snap out of it, not just drink some water and feel better, but like maybe try to take steps towards getting out of that kind of cycle?
Finding someone to talk to, and that sounds crazy, because it's so hard to find someone to talk to, and you think there's not always going to be someone there to talk to. But even if that's just a stranger online, like someone that makes TikToks about anxiety or about something, like, You'll find people in the comments. Just I think what helped me was finding people that are going through the exact same thing, because then you're like, okay, so it's not just me, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and someone else is feeling the exact same way that I'm feeling. So it's not I'm not clinically insane. It's a thing that people have. It's not just me. That definitely helped me a lot when I first realized that the DPD, the depersonalization derealization disorder. When I first seen that online and the exact same things that I was recognizing in myself, that it was like the best day ever, because I knew that it wasn't just me. So I do think trying to find someone who it understands what you're going through, and like that, don't even have to talk to them physically, but even just to see stuff about how people are expressing them, so that that they're feeling this, it's the same thing as you. um yeah, I'd say that. And what else would I say? I think that's a big thing. um yeah, I think that's definitely a big thing, because I know that's what helped me when I knew, okay, I'm not crazy, I'm going through this, and other people have it, and they're still alive, and they're still okay, so that.
Was that something you found, like you found out kind of an explanation through social media, was it? Or was it like you finding a doctor was like, okay, this is what's going on, and then you found people with social media?
No, it was truly, I found it all myself online. Yeah, I found it online, and then when I said to the doctor, then, and we started investigating more and stuff, and she was like, "Okay, yeah, but it was all my." I remember it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, down my room in bed, and I found it, and I remember I didn't sleep for like that night at all, probably because I was just researching, 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 and researching can be a bad thing in some ways, because your mind can make you trick you into think you having something that you don't. But this was genuinely, everything was hitting the nail on the head, that it was, everything was exact, so I knew then.
Yeah, that's exactly how I found out I had ADHD.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, no wait, this could be right. I did go get a formal diagnosis later on, but I'm just like, it's mad how seeing these things, you're like, oh right, okay, oh that is like, it's like a light bulb going off,
Yeah, that's one of the great things about online now and social media, and it's one of the many benefits, definitely. Yeah, knowing you're
Yeah.
not alone. Yeah.
Have actually, speaking of that, obviously that is one of the benefits. But as you are quite online, quite present, you have a like good following. Do you find you get negative pushback very often, or
No, I actually don't get much at all. Like, there a few days ago, I put up a anonymous, that NGL, that link thing, and two or three people were saying, "Oh, that new horse you got is too much for you," and all this blah blah. And what are you gonna do? You're just gonna sell her on, and or like sly, like, people that send like sly remarks, like they're trying to be funny about being hateful. But like, that's one or two. In that, 98% are amazing, and fantastic followers that I've actually become friends with and advice with, and blah blah blah. The odd time you might get one or two, but it's usually, I'm just like, whatever. I'm so, from having my other page years ago, I'm so used to it. I'm just like, whatever. That would never affect me, because I'm just like, you're the sad person either having a fake account writing to someone, or writing to someone on your actual account, and nothing else to do with your life but worry about me. Everyone has their own stuff going on in their life. Why would you care so much about a stranger online?
yeah, it's so funny. It's like, I do find that amusing when that happens as well. Like, people are correcting you, like, cool, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I made an impression.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I look at it like, whenever I get a bad comment, the same as you, like, it's very rare that I get anything like that. I'm just like, I'm so happy that my content made you so happy to tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. What do they say? Bad publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, any publicity is good publicity, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I suppose, do you find like before, when you're making content, if you joke with that, did you get any more negative then, or is it more like, has it kind of been much of a muchness?
Yeah, much with muchness. I find, um with the horse page and with the horsey content, as we call it, it was more natural, because it was, I just started posting things because of, for my progression and my progress. And I find with the horsey one, it's a lot more local. It seems to be like people around me, or like, from Galway, like within an hour or 2 hour radius, where my other page was a lot Dublin based, England. It was a lot more, not around me. So I do think this is more personal. I genuinely love this more than my other page at the time. Yeah, at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true.
because the horse
It's
is
interesting.
small as well. Everyone knows everyone in the horsey world, so it's
Yeah, because of that, sometimes it can get a bit like bitchy, for want of a better description. I was going to say toxic. I was going to say no. I'm going to call a spade a spade. They can be quite bitchy.
They can be quite yeah.
But I suppose, obviously, like I don't know where I was going there. I'm going to end this question. Yeah, that's one thing I forgot to say at the start as well. If you ever like need anything, if you're like holding them in, you can do that.
Yeah.
Really. But, oh yeah, so obviously you said as well earlier that your horses were a big thing about you overcoming your anxiety. What was it about them that really helped you come out of that like part of your life?
I think it's because I had to get up in the morning and feed them. I had to look after them. I am genuinely looking after this animal, their life. That was it. Like they didn't care if I was sick in bed, if I whatever, blah blah. I had to get up. I had to feed them. They don't know whatever. So that was definitely the biggest thing. Yeah, caring
Yeah.
for another animal or another life as it is. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's happened to me as well before. Like when I had going through a bad time, but I had 2 guinea pigs to feed, and like they're like,
Yeah.
So with your horses, what kind of things do you do with them?
I kind of have a happy equestrian, which means just happy being around horses. Like I do. Last summer, I got my trailer last year and my trailer license. So last summer was the first time that I got to actually go out of my livery yard, and me and Murph did shows like definitely twice a month. I feel like we were away nearly every weekend. It was fantastic. We were just doing like dressage events. Towards the end of summer, then I started back doing a few little jumps. So we've been doing a few jumps and stuff during the winter. And I did showing with my cob as well. So that was cool because I hadn't done showing before. So that was cool. That was different. Um, but like I just have a good time with them, and that's not a cliche thing to say, but I don't care about the competitions or the heights I jump or blah blah. Sure, it's good to have goals, and I'm such a goals person. I love writing down stuff and ticking it off my list. But yeah, I love one of my favorite things to do with my horses is actually hand grazing. I just love walking around them hand grazing, me talking shite, them listening, not saying anything back, just spending time with them. I love that.
They're your therapist.
Yeah, truly. Yeah.
I was going to say that you're a free therapist, but horses cost far too much for a cheap therapist.
Yeah.
Therapy be cheaper. But I suppose it's really nice as well to hear someone say that about like, I'm just a happy equestrian. I just do stuff I enjoy with my horses, enjoy being with my horses, because I think over the last like 10 or 15 years, it has become very much a thing of like, what are you doing with like riding them?
Yeah.
Have you no plans? I'm like, no. And it's almost like taboo to say that.
Yeah. It's really like money out of them or doing competitions. Why do you have them? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like because I like them. Is that okay?
I want to look after this animal. Yeah.
It's like that hustle culture thing, isn't it? It's like, oh, I've got a hobby. I'm like, okay, so you can make money out of that. I'm like, no, I just want to like do my hobby. Thanks.
Just chill.
So what are your plans going forward now with the horses? Have you got any, like, have you another one on you have 5 yet, or?
Oh God, no! I only got my 4th one there last week, so I'm just getting to know her. So we're doing lots of groundwork, long reining, lunging, that kind of stuff, and then hopefully every day I'm like, oh, I want to ride her today, but I'm like, no, stick to my plan of getting to know her. So in the next 2 weeks, hopefully I'm going to get up on her. She's a sport horse. She's just 7. She'll be 7 this summer, so she's like, she's young enough and green, but she's still very, very good. And yeah, me and Murph have our first show on the 23rd of February, our first Dressage Ireland show. So that should be fun. I can't wait to get all cleaned up, as we say, the white jaws, the plaits, the whole lot. And yeah, can't wait for the brighter, longer evenings to go hacking, and for all the girls to be back in the yard, because some of the girls are still out with the winter. So I can't wait for everyone to be back. We've got such a great gang of livery girls down there. We're such a close friends. Like, we meet up outside of the horses, and I would never have known these people. Only the horses brought us together. So yeah, I'm excited for all that to get back in. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a massive thing that maybe people outside of like horses don't realize is it does end up being like a living yard in your own community and stuff like that. And it's like, why aren't you around? I'm like, oh, I'm with the horse people. I'm with the horse. I'm with the horse people.
Yeah. But you see these people every day. Like, you know, you see them in the morning, you see them in the evening, we help each other out. Like, you build such a good friendship with these people. And I think it's when you share a passion and a hobby with someone as well, it's hard not to be friends with them because you share the same love, the same interests. So, yeah.
Yeah. What is actually the biggest misconception you find people have about equestrianism and people who own horses?
And we're rich. Well, that and I think some people that aren't horsey think that we just ride them. Like, no, we have to look. And you know, like I said, people in work are like, "Oh, so did you see the horses this morning?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I see them every morning." You know, it's. I think that's the big thing. People don't realize that you actually have to clean them out every day, feed them. It's not just you sit on them and you ride them. Like that's a big one.
Oh yeah, or even I get it's like, oh yeah, I was up to just do a stable, and it's like, oh, did they not do that in the yard? It's like, yeah, but this shit's a lot.
Yeah.
By 4 o'clock, it needs to go again. Like,
Yeah.
my horse is very wet as well, so like it's just a
Yeah.
mess.
Murph, my horse Murph, the first one, like he's an older fella. He doesn't eat. He can't eat hay, so that he keeps me broke because I'm constantly feeding him feed, which is soaked. Like so, he's so wet because he doesn't. He's you know all his food is taken in is soaked, so he's so wet. So yeah.
I wish I had a good reason like that, but Sam's always been wet. Like I've had him for 16 years, and like
So nice.
he's mostly only eating hay now because he's retired. And I'm like, oh.
That's so nice. Give him so long. That's lovely. That's the goal. That's class. Yeah.
We got him when he was young, 3 years ago. Like, he's going nowhere.
That's so nice. Yeah. Okay.
If someone wanted to go down the influencer, no matter how much it is, like, what advice do you have for them if they want to like build a following or kind of grow a page?
Like I said, the stories, and don't plan anything too much. Just go with the drift. You know, go so even just talk about your day. People love day in the lives and like vlogs and stuff, and just be totally yourself. Like, don't try and come across like, "Hey, so today I rode the ponies." Just come on and say how are you getting on. Just say what's the crack, how are you all getting on. Just be like as if you were talking, as if you were sending a voice note or a Snapchat to one of your friends, and just do that. Yeah, don't think too much into it. Just fucking go with the flow. Yeah, don't be afraid. Like I know, like as I said, it's easier said than done, but don't be afraid. Just say, sure, look, what's the worst that can happen? Some people might start laughing at me. Who gives a shit? Let them laugh, like, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, no, I was saying about going with the flow and stuff. I really enjoyed it. And you tagged me in the thing saying you were like, I'm going on a podcast. Who am I on a podcast? But it's so real.
Yeah.
But with that, I think that is pretty much everything I have to ask you, Siobhan. However, there is one question I do ask at the end of every podcast, right? And that is, what is the best advice you've ever been given?
Oh, wow, I love this. Oh fuck.
That's the answer I get quite often first.
What's
No, I love this. It's like, oh fuck is the one I get.
yeah. It's so I wanted to think something different, but I think everyone knows this. But it's what's for you won't pass you, and that's so cliche. But like I'm trying to think that like advice, like.
It doesn't have to be like anything different and profound. Like I've had all sorts of different things. Like I've like the different people even just being like, just go for it. Have been.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's just what's for you won't pass you, or like I'm such a big believer of like envisioning something and then positivity and then it'll come to what's that word?
Manifestation.
Yes, manifestation. I'm such a big person for that. So I think I think it's for what's for you won't pass you, but also know what you want and go for it. Like, don't stop until you get what you want. Like, yeah, can't think of anything else. Yeah.
No, like I always think is with these, like people always think about it, but I think the one that comes to your head first is it's got to be the most meaningful one. It doesn't matter.
It won't pass you. Yeah, that's probably what it is. So yeah.
I think so, and I think even that like shows the thoughts of you went through something that, like, the crippling anxiety kind of thing, but that was brought you to where you are now as well. So
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. It's made me the person who I am today. Like, and yeah.
So I want to say thanks for joining us today, Siobhan. Before you go, can you tell everybody where they can find you?
So on Instagram and TikTok is where I am the most, and it's trashing away my anxiety with a underscore. So yeah, come on, follow, join the craziness, and yeah.
Yeah, you see loads of ponies too. As ever, guys, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok. So it's at Strong the Saddle and underscore at the end as well. And then at Strong the Saddle without the underscore, because I got there first. And then my website as well is www.com. So yeah, just thank you for coming on today. It was great to chat.
So good. Really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Stop.
I really do appreciate everybody who listens to this podcast. So if you please could help me with the algorithm and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And even, if you want to reach out and suggest topics for me, I'd be delighted to hear from you. Drop me a DM on Instagram or TikTok. And thanks again for listening.